Let's roll. This is Countercharge, your podcast for ranks, flanks, and kings of war. Join your hosts as they delve into the world of Panithor and bring you worldwide coverage of all things Kings of War.
Welcome to Countercharge. I'm Adam Ballard.
I'm Felix Castro.
And I'm Jason Burr.
And I am Jeremy Duvall. I'm excited to have some of my favorite Adepticon buddies on to talk all things Kings of War and signups for the upcoming Adepticon, which I know we're all really excited about. New venue, new hotness. This first year that Adam et al. Are going to be running the Clash over the weekend and some of the other side events at Adepticon. So really excited. We're going to be talking our Adepticon schedules, what we've been up to in the hobby, some things to look out as we get closer and closer to Adepticon season, which, Adam, is only 58 days, 15 hours, 15 minutes, and 15 seconds from today's recording. So it is just around the corner.
I'm not that excited. I knew it was like 2 months. That's impressive, Jeremy.
Well, I know it just because if you go to the Adepticon homepage, it tells you it has a clock ticking down. So,
cheater.
Yeah,
I thought you were
cheated.
a true fan.
I am. Well, that is true. I am a true fan, but I know we're excited. Trying to get my gang, a bunch of stuff ready for Adepticon. I'm really excited. Happy to have not only Adam, happy to have Jason and Felix on the show. Felix, who for once in his life, behind his camera, I see a kitchen. So not the murder basement.
Right. Actually, in the recliner that we got from my son, that I'm like, you know what? Everyone's out of the house right now. I'll just be upstairs. Changing it up.
Enjoying the rich life. And,
yeah.
Jason, how are you doing?
Doing good. Just put my son down for a nap. It's middle of basketball season, so it's been keeping me busy. Just trying to stay as busy as possible without getting into trouble, according to my wife.
That's always good. That's just a good health plan. Is especially pre-Adepticon season, you got to build up those brownie points so that you can cash it in and be like, honey, I'm going away for 4 days and don't look at the bank account. So that's, you got a smart plan. But before we get into Adepticon, let's just do a quick hobby roundtable, community event roundtable. Adam, what have you been up to last couple weeks? Anything on your radar or anything you got?
Well, for me, it's mostly been tournament stuff. Adepticon, we got our one day at the beginning of March here in Omaha as well, the March Hare, which we're getting several people from Jason's neck of the woods down. I think we got a good half dozen Minnesota players that are coming to Omaha to play at a one-day event. So they're 5.5 hours away from us. So that's awesome. Our one day is looking pretty strong. We're probably going to have, mid 20s, upper 20s, maybe even break 30 for a one-day event, which is great for us. And then I also recently finally completed my end of year review for my YouTube channel. So got that done. And I've been kind of mulling over the idea of expanding beyond battle reports for that and potentially into more tactics talks and more of like individual lessons or something like that. I don't know what it looked like, but I'm considering the idea and just trying to figure out what that would look like if I pursue it. So,
And that's Master Site, right?
Yeah, Master Site on YouTube.
Yeah, great resource. Adam's got a bunch of good battle reports with analysis. And I really like what I like about that channel is you're very authentic in, oh, I did this, or I did this, but I really shouldn't have done that. Is that something you think about when you're trying to like do a battle report, is to try to like really talk about your mind frame, maybe talk about when things well, or in retrospect, I should have done this or done that. Does that kind of go through your mind when you're doing those reports?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think battle report, before I had even started the channel, I feel like I did pretty much everything that I talk about in the battle reports, but it's just like a post-game analysis whether it's with my opponent or my club mates, talk about our game. Everybody likes to kind of talk about their games and what happened in it, right? So it's a lot of fun to kind of reflect and, if you had a second chance to do something differently, what would you do? It is always a great question to ask yourself. So I just kind of, took that very, what I feel is very much a casual feeling into a battle report thought process and turned it into, a tactical point of view is what I try to focus on as well. But so I feel like I enjoy doing the battle reports because they come naturally in that way, and that's just the way I like them. So if I did a battle report a different way that would feel unnatural, I think people would probably pick up on that and notice. So,
and I think even in games you win, you don't always take perfect lines, right? Maybe even if something works out, I think it's still good to take a look back and be like, okay, was that the right play here? Did dice bail me out? Did dice not? You know what I mean? So I think having that sort of intentional practice where you're really thinking about what you're doing, when you're doing, why you're doing it, I think that's a good stepping stone to becoming a better player.
Yeah, 100%. And that is a big thing that I preach on my channel in the battle reports is always have a plan, stick to your plan. And if it didn't work, that's what, revisiting it at the end of the game is for. Because a lot of times, there are occasionally times where you have to kind of switch mid game what the plan was, but most of the time you got to commit to what your game plan is and stick with that.
What about you, Felix? What have you been up to?
Not a whole lot. I actually just work for the most part. We all know how that goes. Kind of was working. Trying to figure out basically what I'm bringing to Adepticon. Because I do have the army I'm trying to do for my next season, but it's probably going to end up being part of my pairings tournament list because it's at 1,200 points, and that's a little bit less than building and painting a 2,300 point army by Adepticon. And now that you've given us the actual deadline and when it's actually happening, that kind of amps up the anxiety. So, so working on that. Ogres is the next army I'm wanting to try and do, but obviously with the changes with Clash 25 and stuff like that, and just trying to figure out what a good ogre army is going to look like in this upcoming tournament season. So that's basically it. Not a whole lot else besides work and getting what little games I can of Kings of War.
Gotcha. Cool. Yeah, it's going to be interesting to think about, and we'll talk about that in a little bit, sort of what we plan on taking with us to Adepticon for the different events. What about you, Jason? What have you been up to?
Like I said, I've been doing a lot of I coach basketball, so being middle of winter, it's basketball season. So this month, we've been playing 3 games every single week for 4 straight weeks. Sometimes turning around, going from a 7 o'clock game to a 2 o'clock game the next day. So hobby-wise, haven't been doing much since before Christmas. Before Christmas, I got 2 new Glade Stalker units done, and then was painting up a Santa Claus that's riding like a giant ox that's pulled by some gnomes. Got it from Tim Lonis. It's a winnings from Renegade that Tim Lonis had printed up for Renegade. So I was going to give that to my son just for Christmas, like to have it out on the table for Christmas, but I didn't get a chance to finish it before Christmas. Other than that, fixing my 3D printer so I can print out a new model for Bug Eater. But other than that, haven't been getting a whole lot of hobby done. Just cleaned my table off actually today.
Well, sometimes that's good. That I still count that as hobby work, doing like a clean or a reorganization of your hobby creation space. I know for me, sometimes it gets to a point where it's so out of control that I won't sit down to paint. So I really have to be like, okay, I'm not going to paint today per se, but I'm, cleaning all the soda can or whatever the crap that just materializes around your hobby table. That's good to take care of, though, I think.
Yeah, Tim Lonis sent me some models for his website to paint up between his website and social media and stuff. Some stuff that are on his shop. So been meaning to get to those. Got them primed and everything, but just gotta find some time to sit down and paint them.
Yeah, Tim sent me a bunch of stuff. I got for my new Northern Alliance, I got the MDF bases that have the holes already drilled in them for magnets. And I found them pretty good. My one feedback is on a couple of them, if you go really over the top with multi-basing materials, which I do, I found I've had to add 1 or 2 extra magnet holes because they're not quite magnet-y enough. So, but really great product from him if you're looking for something where the magnet holes are already drilled. Definitely a cool product. And he also printed me up a bunch of other stuff, accoutrements for the Northern Alliance project. So definitely check out War Chest Creations if you haven't. Tim, a friend of the show, and he's got a bunch of great stuff on that website. For me, I just got back from the Las Vegas Open, which is Frontline Gaming's big convention style event in beautiful Las Vegas at the Rio. I went with Jeff Swan. We went to go play in some MCP events. So Jeff qualified for their Invitational, which is essentially their masters for Marvel Crisis Protocol, where to get in, you either have to win in a qualifier event and in first place, or you can sneak in based on like overall points. So he played in that, and then I played. They had a regular tournament, and then Jeff and I played in a team tournament. So they had a bunch of events over the weekend. LVO I had never been to. We've talked a little bit about maybe getting a Kings of War event at LVO. We essentially were just going to copy Crossroads, basically, and do a team style event at LVO because Crossroads, people really love that. And it's all the way up in, upstate New York. So we thought there might be space to have a teams event on sort of this side of the country. So it was interesting to go check out LVO, see what it's like. I mean, it's huge. It's not as big as Adepticon, obviously. I mean, Adepticon is so big, but it definitely has that bigger size venue, very GW focused, what makes sense with Frontline. But, they had some A&G stuff. They had an MCP. They had a Shatterpoint. They had a War Machine Hordes tournament, which was crazy to see. Like people, I think people are still playing that game, but it was pretty fun. It was a really nice event. I had been working hard getting a bunch of stuff painted, finishing my roster of X-Men up for that. So I got all of that done, and I really love that game. MCP is super fun, but it definitely is a game that if you don't know what everything does, or you're not splashing into your affiliation the characters that are like at the high power level, it's very difficult to outplay the meta in that game. As you see on the final table in the tournament, both people were playing Asgard because Asgard's like one of the strongest factions in that game right now. But as like a thematic game, it's super fun. And I do like having a game system in my repertoire that is, I need to add a unit. It's one model. So that is nice to be like, instead of, I really want to add a horde of spearmen. And it'd be like, instead of a few hours later, it's like 8 months later. I finished the one unit because I'm so slow. It was super fun. But now that I'm done with that, I can focus on my Northern Alliance, which I'm kind of in your ballpark, Felix, as I was hoping to have them finish for Adepticon, but probably not going to happen. But doing the pairings tournament, maybe I can get enough done for that. So I'm now working on some ice elementals and my multi-basing for them, which is coming along pretty cool. But it's nice to have the MCP stuff out of the way. I have a full roster of 10 X-Men, so I can play that game fully painted. And now I can put some energy back into Kings of War. So pretty excited. When I got back from LVO, the first thing I did was a hobby cleanup. So my hobby space always gets so messy right before a tournament. Things just get craze balls. What was cool, they had a vendor hall at LVO, and I'm always a fan of the vendor hall. I have a huge Adepticon vendor hall. But this time they had 2 tattoo artists. So I got a tattoo at LVO, which was pretty fun. I had won a bunch of money. And one of the rules of gambling I have is if you win money, you spend the money. So you don't have that money to lose back to the casino. So the first night I won some money, and the next day we went to Rogue Toys, which is a cool retro toy shop like across the street from Pawn Stars, the gold and silver pawn shop. So went over there, got some, checking out the old cool stuff, got a couple of things there. And then I was in the vendor hall and they had like a pop-up tattoo shop. So I was like, oh, I will get a tattoo.
So remind me when you win money at Adepticon to make sure I go out to eat with you. You'll just pick up the check, right?
At Masters, definitely, because that's in a casino. Yeah, as Shannon Shoemaker knows, I helped him pay for his New York Masters trip. But no, I mean, thankfully, I ended up losing. I'm glad I spent the money because I ended up having not as good a trip at the second half of the trip. But that was just like an old tip when, like, my Miyagi, like the guy who taught me how to gamble, that was one of his tips. If you're ever up, go buy something, because then you have a souvenir, you have something tangible from that win streak that you can remember. And once you spend that money, you no longer have that money to lose back to the casino. So just a tip for all you gamblers out there.
Adam, is that what you did with your winnings from Masters this year?
No, I just put it towards the next event.
Oh yeah, the strike. Well,
strike
yeah.
dice.
Strike
Yeah.
Dice Championships. There you go.
That's right. The after party that only Kings of War players will know.
Yes. Well, and stay tuned. We're going to be part of a Masters update. We are doing what's called the Masters Minute, which is going to be a monthly newsletter sort of highlighting a different aspect of Masters. The first one's coming out today is Sunday that we're recording it. So it's coming out Monday, which this episode is coming out on a Wednesday. So when you're listening to this, the first January edition of the Masters Minute should be out. So go take a look. It's going to highlight all of the hotel codes for signing up. Just know when you sign up, the amount that you see on the sign up, it doesn't account for the resort fee. So the amount that we've reported, you'll be like, wow, this is even less than what they said. Just know that we, in our advertising of how much the rooms cost, we included the resort fee. So then that way you would know exactly how much the rooms are. But the link is going to be in that.
Which I appreciate. I like to know what my final total is going to be.
Where are you going to release the Masters Minute? Is that just on the Facebook Master page?
Yeah, it's going to be on the Facebook Master page. It also is going to be given to all the chairs. So the chairs will be putting it in their own subgroups. But yeah, so this issue has the hotel links. It has all the information around all of the airports, both links to the airports, also distances, and i.e. why might you want to fly into this airport over this airport. We have a little information about that. And then we talked briefly about our vision, mission, values for the tournament. Like, what is the event we're trying to run? What is our strategy? What is our goals? Just so you can kind of know a little bit around, as a tournament organizing committee for the West Coast, what are the key core principles of the type of event that we want to bring you guys this summer. And then over the next few months, each month we're going to come out with an issue, and it's going to highlight a different thing around Masters. It's going to talk a little bit about food. Next February's issue is going to have a lot of previews on food and fun, like stuff to do while you're there. We'll have an issue that will highlight some of our prizes, some of our extra accoutrements or side events. So the idea is that each month you're going to have a little bit of insight into what we have planned for you guys for Masters. And then we're also doing a Masters Minute that's geared towards all the region chairs so that all the logistics are being handled behind the scenes. So take a look for that. If you, it will be posted, like I said, in all the different Facebook groups, on the Countercharge Facebook page. Touch base with your local chair if you're trying to find it, and you guys can start reserving those hotel rooms, planning your flights.
You guys getting it on the Masters website page as well?
Everything's going to be on the Masters website. Mike Adkins gave me all the info for that, so I'm just in the process of getting all that information. And then we also got a bunch of logos and bespoke branding done for our Masters. So we'll have information in regards to swag. If you want to get shirts or stuff with all of that information, we'll be releasing that in the coming months as we get closer to the event.
I've seen some sneak peeks, and I think everybody's going to like what's coming. So really excited for that.
We're really excited. We feel very purpose-driven in trying to hold the best possible event for you guys. All of us in the West are pretty, involved with the greater Kings of War community. and we want to make sure all the goodwill that we've developed over the years and in community building is represented. So just know that as you see these little tidbits, we're really excited. So, and we're going to be releasing them as as we get closer each month. And each Masters Minute will have a little preview of something cool. So stay tuned to those. And like I said, I've shown Adam and some few other chairs some secrets from our armorers preparing trophies and all the great stuff. So I think it's going to be a really exciting event. I hope everyone comes. Even if you don't qualify for Masters, the Atlantis Casino is really a great resort. Come for Best of the Rest. There's amazing food. We're going to be having a great time. We have a huge space, so we'll be doing board gaming and like all sorts of fun activities. So there'll be plenty of room for activities, So I hope you guys can come and make it out. But we're here to talk about Adepticon. I'm really excited of all the events. I know Felix and Jason, Adam, and myself are longtime Adepticon attendees. I know I've riffed on what I love about Adepticon, and I know Adam has too in our recent episodes. But let's start with you, Felix. I know you're a longtime Adepticon goer. What about Adepticon keeps you coming back each year, or what about it do you love?
From a purely materialistic angle, the vendor hall is a big part of that. I mean, just about anyone who is involved in the wargaming or miniatures or hobby, sort of co-related activities of wargaming is at Adepticon. A lot of companies will debut their new products for the year at Adepticon, and just there's stuff that you don't even like. You're just walking through the hall. You're like, oh, that looks really cool. I'm going to buy that. Just stuff you'd never even like imagine getting in that vendor halls. That's kind of why I go there. And like you've mentioned many times on the podcast, it is kind of the mecca of wargaming events. That's generally why I've been going. I've been going since everyone they've had since 2018. So this will be my 7th year going, or 6th year, because there's that one COVID year in 2020 that they didn't have one. But yeah, so pretty long time going. That's why I go to those. It's just a fun activity, and just they get to see a lot of the people in the Kings community that aren't the people you don't see at Masters necessarily, or Midwesterners and stuff like that. So that's why I like to go.
Yeah, we always get our dirty Frenchman from Canada come down.
Yeah,
Christian. Yeah.
Christian. Yeah.
Yeah. You see, I think Adepticon's like Masters. It's one of those events that you go to and well, maybe I won't see someone this year, but I know I'm going to see them there, right? Because that's right. It's one of those big bucket list type. If I can make it to one tournament that's not Masters each year, and I could only pick one travel one, I'm going to pick Adepticon for all those reasons. But what about you, Jason? What's the special sauce in Adepticon for you that keeps you coming back?
Just the grand, like it being a convention. There aren't a lot of them out there. Like you said, Las Vegas Open, the one that was Masters was at last year in DC, but Adepticon being the closest one for me to go to. I had been hearing about it for about 10 years. I want to say a buddy of mine who's an Omni gamer, plays tons of games, had been telling me about it. Being a basketball coach, I couldn't go. I just couldn't commit. It was always state tournament weekend. Funny enough, I straight up told the guy that hired me this year, I was like, I'm taking that weekend off. I don't care. I'm going to this with a buddy of mine running the tournament now. I wanted to be there to support him. Not Adam. It was Travis and Billy, but we just want to make sure we establish that. But then also, like you said, it's the people you see there, not just, it's the King of War group. Like for us, I mean, me and Felix being in the same region, I mean, Felix, what I see once a year at Adepticon at best.
It's at Adepticon. We are basically on opposite ends of the region, so
correct.
We never see them for Ohio and Indiana. We only ever see the Minnesotans at Adepticon essentially. So
it is the Great Midwest Divide. Minneapolis or Wisconsin and Illinois are the two border states that you two are allowed to meet in, but otherwise you guys have to stay on your own side of the region.
Correct.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Well, and then you can also, you have your other friends that play other games. I mean, obviously being in gaming communities, other people play other games, so they can go to this tournament as well with you, share hotel rooms, different things like that, and you guys can still spend time with people outside of Kings as well. So you kind of get the best of both worlds within the gaming community. And then I've always enjoyed the hobby classes. I usually take one a year for that. And those are a ton of fun. But for the most part, just the ability to satisfy whatever like you like to do, whether it's gaming, whether it's hobbying, whether it's spending money on the vendor hall, it just satisfies everything that you like within gaming entirely.
Awesome. Yeah, I mean, it really is. I always, what's it for me, and I always go back to this. If you just love miniature gaming, not just like, oh, I love Kings of War, but if you love the hobby itself, like you like different game systems, or you love the paint, or you love, it really is the mecca for people who love the hobby, because every game system has a place there, whether it's obscure like War Gods of Egyptius tournaments going on, or game systems that you can't find someone to play ever. At Adepticon there's an event for that game system.
They typically have a lot of like play testing for new games. Like I know Shatterpoint 2 years ago, Star Wars Shatterpoint, there was 7 or 8 tables out there where the people were being taught how to play that game, and you can just go play for free, which I think is really cool. There aren't a whole lot of tournaments you go to until the game is released where you can start playing it.
Definitely. Yeah, they had that big Shatterpoint reveal, and then always companies there in the vendor hall showing new stuff. Or I know for me, my Exemplar wet palette, I always get my yearly supplies for that at Adepticon because he's always there, so I'll pick up my new sheets. Or or the Baron of Dice is always there at Adepticon. Artist Opus is there, Monument Hobby all year. I know Felix is a big fan of Pro Acryl. So, and they usually will do custom colors sometimes for different events and all that sort of stuff. So really is such a great event. Okay, well, let's go ahead and talk Adepticon schedules. I'm curious to see what you guys are signed up for. So the first series of events is on March 27th. So on that Thursday, we got the big game, which is pretty cool. If you're new to Kings of War or you want to check it out, the big game is always good to go see. It's essentially what you would think a big giant game of Kings of War with all the models all supplied. They're running that 2 times on the March 27th. And then sort of the big tournament or event on that Thursday is the Blood in the Water Armada tournament. I know in the past, Felix, you've done a little bit with Armada. Are you signed up to do the Armada tournament this year?
No, I am in fact not.
Okay.
I am signed up for something else on the 27th, so I guess we can talk about that later.
Okay, well, we can just do it right now. What are you signed up for on that day?
I am signed up for the Firefight US.
Hey, I am too, Felix. Hell yeah.
Nice.
So after going 0-3 in both Armada and Firefight last year, respectively, I was like, okay, I'm going to put Armada to the side right now. And I painted up a new army for Firefight. So I'm looking forward to I'm not anticipating winning a lot. I just want to at least win one game. That's my goal for it.
No, you bring up a great point, right? I was just saying the Kings of War stuff, but we also have the Firefight US Nationals are happening on that 27th from 9 to 7:30. And that's looking like there's only 8 spots left in that event as of when we're recording that. So if you're interested in signing up, it's going to be a 3-round tournament. Definitely sign up for that. So what are you taking to Firefight, Felix?
So last year I had taken, or the last 2 times we had it, I had taken Maison Labs. But I just, especially after last year, I just realized, man, it's just too, not finesse, but like, it's one of those blink and your army's gone kind of deals. So it was like, let me try something that's not quite that. So I went to the Forge Fathers. So they're not going to move around and win a lot of quick scenario stuff, but they'll probably at least be around end of the game. That's my plan. So,
oh, and they're impossible to kill, which is always nice. Right. You have that really great defense.
Yeah. So that's kind of, that was my reasoning. I was like, I'll probably lose certain scenarios just because I just can't get to places, but at least I'll have a thing to not get there in time with versus just blinking my army's gone.
You have any Hammer Fist drop guys in your list?
Just one squad.
But, okay. I mean, that's good. Those guys are always my superstars for scenario play, right? Because they're your one really nice mobile. And I added a couple of the biker guys last year.
So I'm going to play test hopefully in the next couple weeks. Okay. I do have a list. I added a Brocker Valkyr squad. So I'll get the bikes because those are such cool models. But when the new ones that
they are really cool. They're really great models. And just another nice speed element you can add into the list that usually doesn't like to move.
Right. So I've never used them before, which is why I'm kind of cautious. Like, whatever, I'm not going to add them to the list right now. But like I said, I want to get that playtest game in to kind of see if I do well with them or if I just need to go back to my other stuff.
And Adam, you said you're going to be playing in Firefight 2 that Thursday?
Yeah, I think I'm going back to play some Plague.
Oh, geez.
But they changed my good old smoke mortars, so I can't just deploy terrain in the middle of the game anymore. But
shucks.
it does give a unit stealthy and cover, so it's decent. So,
and I still say Firefight's one of their best designed games. It's just so much fun.
Yeah, and that's really what I'm looking for on Friday. Armada, I think. There's a lot of thinking to do in Armada. There's a lot of tactical movement, which I enjoy, but I think the Thursday game that I'm looking for is, in this case, just run forward, smash face, roll dice. So that's what I'm planning to do with Plague.
Awesome, Jason. Have you messed around with Firefight at all?
I have not. I barely have enough time to casually play Kings,
let alone play another game system.
Yeah, I mean, basically it's tournament prep and maybe a casual game here and there. I have messed around before with Song Ice and Fire. My buddy who got me into Kings is really big into Song Ice and Fire, which is a fun game. But once again, I just don't have the time to play multiple games. If I have time to sit down for 2 hours and knock out a game, two and a half hours, knock out a game of Kings, I don't have to think about rules. I don't have to think about anything. Well, command dice are a little bit different now, but for the most part, I stick to Kings. Usually, like I spend one day taking a hobby class when I'm there. My first year, I signed up for something every day, and I didn't get to enjoy the convention. So now my goal every year is to have one day where I'm just doing absolutely nothing, and I get to enjoy the convention. So Thursday is that for me. We'll come in Wednesday night, and then Thursday I'll do absolutely nothing but walk around the vendor hall, probably poke my head into big game and give Kyle Ritchie a lot of crap, which he's deserves it.
He does very much so.
Well, you can give Kyle Poole some crap because both Kyle Poole and Kyle Ritchie will be running the big games.
Are you serious? Oh my God, that's too much Kyle, man.
That is the setup. So, yeah. So the big game is going to be fun to just observe. I feel like
I want to see how short the jean shorts are going to be for the big game.
That's a very compelling question that I'm not certain I the answer.
There's definitely going to be no sleeves. So
yes,
the other
two characters, man. There's some great characters.
The other goal I have for that day is to get Tim Lonis as drunk as I did last year and see what army he's going to offer to paint me this year to play at Bug Eater.
You got to get Laser Eyes Tim Lonis to show up every year at Adepticon, baby.
Yep.
Oh man, that's hilarious. But I completely agree with you, Jason. My first Adepticon, I also overbooked. I signed up for like 3 tournaments and a paint workshop, and it's just too much. You can spend a day with nothing on your agenda, and you'll be busy at Adepticon from open to close, because the vendor hall is so full. Just checking out all the different game systems, all the models there turned in for the painting competitions are all put in glass cases. So yeah, that's a great advice to people who are new to Adepticon. Don't feel like you have to have something scheduled every day to have fun or get your money's worth. You're going to have a great time just walking around. Okay, so then on that Friday, we have a couple more options for big games, and then we also have the Ambush and the Pairings tournament. And Adam, you guys are running all the Kings events, right? Not just the Clash of Kings event. Is that correct?
We're running the Pairings event and the Clash. So the big games are in the wheelhouse of Kyle and Kyle. Ambush, I'm not sure who's running Ambush.
So for the Pairings event, it looks like we got 4 spots left. Can you give us a little bit more details? Like, is there a pack for that out yet? Do we know points or what? Talk to us about the Pairings tournament.
Yeah, absolutely. So player packs and all the information for both events that we're running are on the Adepticon website. So when you go to the top, I think it says event info, and then there's just a big drop down. You go down to Kings of War, and I think there's 3 files there. Two of them are the ones that I put out there for pairing and for the Adepticlash event. So the pairing event, I'm really excited for it. So I would be signed up for it, but I'm just taking the first ringer spot for it at this point. And I'm really hoping that I get a play. So for this event, it's 1,200 points. We are going to play with command dice for this tournament and not for the Adepticlash event. You're going to be randomly paired up with somebody that's going to be your partner for game one. You're going to go up against two other people. We're going to avoid pairing people from same regions or areas for the first game at the very least, and try to continue that throughout the event when possible. And you and your new friend are going to play and work together, and your armies are going to be one. So that means the inspiring works with your buddy, the rally works with your buddy. If you got a command order that you can cast with your army, it works on your partner's army as well. So anything and everything that normally would just affect your army will affect your partner's army. So looking to have a lot of fun, meet some new people, and then round two, that person that was your buddy, he could be on the other side of the table, because you know what? You got a new buddy now for game two, and you're going to, figure out how to work with your new buddy and work together with your armies and find the new synergies with that. And so you're going to have 3 games of that, where you're going to have 3 different allies each time. And then, if we get enough people, odds are we should be able to get you at least 5 to 6 different opponents every time as well. So, and if you're winning, there's a good chance that your buddy from the last round might be one of your opponents on the next round. So, but that's just the way it's going to work out, and I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be a lot of fun.
And I love that you guys are doing, in looking at the resources, you're going to have your best general award, you're going to have a sportsman award, and then you're going to have a best painted award.
Yes. So for the awards, they are going to be a little bit lighter, a little bit more casual for the pairing event. But because we get the Adepticon medals, we're just going to do top 3 for general or battle. And then there's going to be effectively just a judge's choice for painting. So there's no official rubric or anything you have to fill out. But your individual 1,200 points list that you bring yourself will be graded by itself for a painting award. And then the sports is going to be, again, kind of more of a casual feel, but something that I think is going to work pretty well. Essentially, after every game, you're going to have an open comment sheet for your partner as well as your opponents. And you just get to write in comments that the judges will review. And at the end, the judges will go through and pick out somebody that had the most outstanding comments. And, so somebody's going to be like, Felix Castro is my new best friend. He's the best guy that I've ever played with. I had so much fun. We lost our game maybe, or we won our game, but I don't care. I'm hanging out with Felix for the rest of the weekend. Things like that are going to be what that sportsmanship award is going to be determined off of. And it's just the judge's choice based off of player feedback.
Awesome. Very cool. Well, I'm super excited for that. Like I said, I was hoping to play my Northern Alliance in the main Clash event, but now I'm shooting to have 1,200 points done so I can at least play that in the pairings event, and then also bring some of my new stuff to the event. So I'm really looking forward to that. Felix, you said you're signed up for the pairings event?
I am. Yeah, that's definitely going to put it out there, committed to it. I'm going to debut the ogres at the pairings event for the 1,200 points.
Awesome. Cool. And what about you, Jason?
I can probably paint a 2,300 point into whatever 50. What do I want to? No, I want to actually enjoy.
Well, and then also too, Felix, this is the new official award-winning Brush with Death painter, Felix, who is
firefight, not for.
I mean, no, you're still painting champion though, bro. You got to.
That's fair.
It's so awesome. Each time I see your stuff, it's better. It looks better and better.
Well, I'm hoping to even top that, but we'll see. So
just to hop in on that, I know that I believe Blake went into more details in one of the last Countercharge episodes, but do want to put out there that there is a Mantic painting competition. So bring models that you're not using over the weekend. They'll put it in a display case. There's going to be a Mantic sponsored like judges thing. I'm not involved in that, but I do want to make sure that people are aware that they should be, looking at. I think there's a monster or Titan option. I think there's an individual, and there might even be like a unit that are the categories for that painting award. So yeah, for those painters out there, bring your models, get them up on display for the weekend, and win some awards.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, they usually do like a whatever, best squad, best, monster, best large, all the things that you would think of in Firefight or other game systems. They usually have a category for that. So definitely check it out. It's cool to have. And also, I think it's good for Mantic too at their booth in the vendor hall to have some of their stuff painted up, looking nice. But Jason, did you say you're doing the pairings?
I am doing the pairings.
What are you bringing?
I'm gonna bring my elves.
Okay.
I got a new display board and some other things, so it's like
Ooh.
3 boxes between my army. I don't know if I'm gonna bring some other stuff I've painted up or what. I haven't looked at 1,200 points yet, but yeah, I'll bring my elves. I'll have the normal things, but I'm already bringing more than I normally do, so I'm just gonna try and keep it as simple as possible when it comes to that.
So I got a question for you. Since it's a team event and you want to help out your friend, what are elves going to do besides maybe inspiring their friends? You got any rally there? You got any auras that you want to give out? I don't know. Is there anything you're going to do?
We'll shoot.
You're just going to shoot the enemy. You're just like, hey, we're here to kill the stuff. You worry about the mission, whatever that is.
Exactly. We play kill until turn 4, turn 5 maybe. And then we'll worry about the mission after that. We've already established this on the Army Review.
Yeah.
How elves play.
You'll table your opponent and then somehow lose. So
you're going there saying, "Hey, buff me, and I'll carry us." Okay.
I mean, I can buff with
me.
the command points. Hey, ordered march is a thing for infantry and everything.
All right, that's fair. Now we're talking. There is something that elves can provide.
Yeah,
I still remember walking by your and Travis's game, and Travis is like, "Jeremy, look at the score. Look at the score to our game," and it was just like, "Oh man, that was crazy."
Embarrassing to lose a game when a guy only rolls 3 dice against.
Yeah, and then it looks like it has 4 spots left. What was the cap for that?
I think they started it off on 20, but they are going to extend the cap for any of the events that we have that reach their limit before the end of the month. So they might review it like first week in February, but I've been busy today messaging people that I know are interested and aren't on this sign up sheet as of yet, trying to get them signed up sooner rather than later. That way we can get more capacity. And I think there's the discussion of what vendor or what venue we're in. So there's different halls and they're different sizes. So if we have our players hit the caps for these events, we're going to get put in a bigger hall, which is better for everybody and all the Mantic games. So
in the end, the message is sign up. They are filling up, but there's a chance we'll get more space, which more space means more people looking at our awesome game, means more, more buzz. So if you haven't signed up, go sign up.
And biggest thing is more hangout space because, man, after hours is going to be in the hall. So we want as much space as possible. That way we're not having to, move the terrain and whatnot on certain tables. If we can, have other tables and more space that designated for the board games, the hangout sessions, the everything else after hours. That's ideally what we would want.
Okay, so that's that Friday, and then of course over the weekend we have the main event. How are we looking at signups for Clash?
We got a really good start so far. So we're over 40 right now. I think we just hit over 40. But I have, like I said, I've been messaging people that aren't on the list yet, trying to gauge if they're going, if they're not, where they're sitting at. I got another 10 12 people that are likely signing up within the next week. So I think it's easy to say we're going to hit the cap that we're at. I just hope we hit it soon enough so that we can extend that cap just in case there's other people that aren't on my radar. So I think it's safe to say we're going to be over 50 players for Adept Clash this year.
Which is awesome, right? I think the most we had, do you remember when the one year that Shannon did it, were we in the 50s or low 60s?
I think they exceeded 60 because that was also
I think it was low 60s. It was like 62 or 64.
Yeah, that's what I remember.
Because that was also the year that they introduced the flight over to the UK Clash for the winner that had a 90% Mantic army.
Right.
So that was a big draw for people.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know how you're feeling, Adam, but to me, considering our numbers were off a little bit last year, if we end up in the 40 to 50 range, I mean, I think that's a big success. I mean, do you feel pretty good about that 50-ish number?
Yeah, I'm definitely happy with 50. I think last year we were mid 30s, 36 or so. So I think if we hit 50 this year, that shows a good amount of growth. And then, I expect even more for the next years to come after that.
Oh, well, I want us to hit Clash of Kings UK numbers eventually.
Yeah,
I think Adepticon, I think it's not out of the question for over the next few years that we can build to those sort of numbers at Adepticon.
I agree. That is definitely my vision, and I might have been a little aggressive. I was putting the goal for the first year here around 60, which is still possible. But I think if we get 50, mid 50s, that's going to be a great number for the first year at the new location. I'm very excited about it.
Awesome. And that pack is also in the same location, like you said, where there's a pack for the Ambush tournament, the Kings of War pairings tournament, and the Adepta Clash are all on there. It's going to be, 3 games on Saturday, right? 2 games on Sunday. So if you do need to get out there early on Sunday, you can.
2,300 points, blackjack. It's very standard. No command dice. So we're keeping it very lean this year. Potentially review that and get a survey out for next year, see what people would like changed, if anything. But I think the big
there's some things that stand out to me is lists are due on March 15th, submitted by
that was
email.
It. So the big thing is that check the dates in the pack for when lists are due. I'll be messaging people, a week before or so to make sure everybody's aware. And also, I'm not sure the exact date, but I think sometime mid-February, maybe even late February, Adepticon shuts their signups down. So if that happens, I have no control over it. So I'll try to inform people that haven't signed up yet, once I know that date, but sign up sooner than later is definitely the big memo here today.
Oh yeah. Sign up. So then that way, you're going, you can get all your travel logistics done. I think we'll probably do another Adepticon episode in a month or so, and we'll go over all our travel logistics, where everyone's staying, sort of we'll talk a little bit about what to do when you're looking for hangouts and all sort of the extracurricular stuff. But I see 65 minutes. I think that's a good time. I'm a big fan. The more I play, the more I'm a fan of the 65. I think is a sweet spot as far as clocks are concerned.
Yeah, and because we're keeping it lean, no command dice, it's all the same stuff we're used to. 65, I think, is the right number. We want to get people out of there earlier rather than later on Sunday. But something to note in the pairings pack, the round timers are extended a decent amount. I think there's an extra 15 minutes per team. So the round is an extra half hour in total for the pairings event. This is because you're meeting new people. We expect a lot more conversation, a lot more of a casual environment in that aspect. So for the people playing on Friday, know that you do have time. You're going to be playing with new people. You're going to be learning new rules, things like that. That is expected. So there will be time in there allotted for that.
No special characters, right, Adam? For the Adepticon, it's been in the
Nope.
past Ronnie the Bard, but no special characters this year, right?
Correct.
Just
There's
me.
no special characters in either event, but Felix is special as always.
Oh yeah, he is the complete package.
And
Tool belt
also,
and all.
I just kind of go back when talking about the registration stuff. I was looking on their website for Adepticon, so you can actually get a full refund as late as March 7th. So if you are thinking you might be able to go, register, and you have basically till first week in March to cancel if it turns out you can. But
Oh, great point. Get your spot reserved, and then if you end up can't going,
Right.
you can always great suggestion.
That's a good call out. Thank you, Felix.
The other thing I would add too is when you come, you have to get your badge if you don't get it mailed to you. Now they're starting to mail badges, but if you come the day of the tournament, make sure to get there early because that line does get long, and make sure you are paying attention to letters for names. I've had enough times now where I just hop to the front because no one's at the A to E section because they're just in one single line. So highly recommend that. Get there early, especially with it being in a new location. Don't know what everything will look like with that, but at the same time, badges, the line does get long. So if you're trying to show up the day of, that Saturday or even Friday, make sure you plan some time to get your badge if you don't get it mailed to you.
Yeah, and something else to prepare for that we've discussed in a previous episode, but the new location does have security to go through. I haven't experienced it myself, but my understanding is that it has a high capacity, so there's a large volume that should be able to get through quickly. But on the busiest days, like the Friday mornings, the Saturday mornings, there may be a slight delay because of that as well. So I would definitely recommend, just planning ahead with all those things when possible.
Great suggestions. It's always better to be early than it is to be trying to rush through that stuff. And last year, and thus why they moved, last year was out of control. But I think part of that was the amount of people. It was at the breaking point for the facility. And I think that's why now Adepticon has moved to a bigger facility, right? It's because it was just too many people for that space. So this year is going to be really interesting to see, is that badge snafu, which sometimes people wait in line hours to get their badge so they can, get into the vendor hall for preview, or they're trying to get into the GW. Usually they do their big reveal night the night before on Thursday night sometime. So it should be interesting to see how the new space works that. So what are you thinking of, Felix, if you bring the ogres for the pairings, what are you thinking of bringing for the clash?
Well, actually, I was just thinking about it while I was driving around today for errands. I might leave it up to the people on Countercharge to decide, because I'm thinking either Northern Alliance or Halflings. So I might give this a couple weeks after this episode drops to kind of people can comment on the episode to see which one I want to bring. Because honestly, I don't know. I've been playing both pretty much almost exclusively for the past, 2-3 years. So kind of comfortable with both, but leave some fun people to chat about. Hook me with a bad army or whatever. So
Yeah, well then you can control Felix's destiny in your hands.
So, and I can blame the greater Countercharge audience as well. So
for sure.
Take it off my shoulders. It's not me. They just picked a bad army.
And then Adam, are you guys going to be doing any sort of matchup stuff or any pre-Adepticon hype? I know Adepticon it's a little harder because you don't, sometimes you have people coming the last minute. Or do you have anything scheduled for before the event?
Yes, we absolutely do. So the reason why lists are due, I believe it's like 2 weeks before the event, is because a week before the event, we are going to be doing a matchup cast. This, I should say, is for Adept Clash event. The pairings event, lists are not due ahead of time. There won't be any preemptive, you won't know who your partner is or anything like that until Friday. But for the Adept Clash event, we're definitely going to go through and do kind of the whole shindig as it were, for as if it was like a Masters event, things like that. So our plan is either March like 20th or 21st to do a matchup cast, which I believe the lists were due exactly a week before that, or potentially 5 days before that, if I remember correctly. Whatever the date is in the player pack, that's when they're due. So, but that would give everybody, at least a week's amount of time to know the matchups and to get excited for knowing who's coming and, what armies are going to be there. I don't know. It's always something that I enjoy seeing the breakdown and kind of the like the scrying gems analysis, as it were, right? So,
it's super fun. It's great hype building, like you said, and it's just super fun.
Absolutely. So, we're definitely looking forward to that. And then as well, during the event, for anybody that's not able to attend, there will be a live stream, and that will be managed and hosted by Grant Barnes, who was the co-host for the Omaha Masters when we hosted that. So he's taken up the mantle, and I believe Travis Tim is going to be his designated second-hand man. So if you want some crazy shit to watch, that's going to be some fun times for sure.
So make sure you check out www.adepticon.org. All the information is there. Countdown. They also have a great spot in the info tab. If you go under exhibitors and sponsors, you can see all of the companies that have presence in the amazing vendor hall, as Felix said. And with this new facility, with this new more space, I'm really curious to see this year's vendor hall, just to see how crazy it is with all the extra added space they're going to have. So make sure you check that out.
Pretty tight last year in terms
of
the vendor hall. So,
and I think that a big shout out to Blake Schroed as well, for who's going to be running the stand for Mantic there. I know he's told me several of his big ideas he has, and it sounds like it's going to be something worth checking out. So at the very least, if you're walking around the vendor hall, find the Mantic booth and see what they got to offer. And another reminder is that as a part of your entry into the Adepticlash event, you will actually be getting a voucher that's good at the vendor hall for the Mantic booth. And I believe it's like $10 off a purchase of $30 or more. I forget the exact amount, but it's going to be a dollar amount off if you purchase a certain amount, with the idea of anything you want in mind. And Blake's definitely going to be bringing a lot of the newer stuff that they have from Mantic's side. So,
and they always have great deals too there. Like if you buy like bundles, right, or get this, so just inherently without that little bit of extra coupon to save you money, they always have really nice show deals at the Mantic booth. So make sure you check that out. And again, go to the Adepticon website. If you go to the top, there is a rules. Click that, and it will take you to event rules and resources. You click the drop down, which defaults to convention policies. You click that drop down, and then you go all the way down, go down to Kings of War. There'll be 3 entries, and then Kings of War Armada has 1 entry. That's where you'll find the pack. So sometimes if you're looking in the event schedule, it will show the times, but it doesn't have a link to all the resources. You'll need to go to the separate rules page on Adepticon, but just hit the at the top of the web page, rules. It's the 4th option from the left. Just hit that and then hit the drop down. Go find Kings of War, and you'll find all the packs. All the info that you need is all, as of right now, is all posted up there.
Yep. And when the matchup cast time and date is finalized, and when lists are coming, just keep an eye out on the Facebook channels and everything. I'll make sure I reach out to everybody that's signed up as well, to make sure everybody that's on our sign-up sheet is aware of those dates as they come closer. So, yeah, so just keep an eye out. Facebook is usually where you're going to find any of that sort of information.
Okay, awesome. Well, we're going to take a quick break, and on the other side, we'll come back and we'll wrap up the show. We'll be right back.
Hello, this is Duncan Rhodes from the Duncan Rhodes Painting Academy, and I hope you're about to apply a second thin coat just there whilst you're listening to Countercharge.
Hey, this is Ash Barker from GMG, and you are listening to Countercharge.
And we are back. So really, the kind of key takeaways, Adam, is sign up if you haven't signed up already. Duh. What are you waiting for? And then sort of the next benchmark will be just making sure you turn in the dates or turn in your list by the due dates, which is in the pack. Take a look at the pack. The painting award for Clash over the weekend, it looks like you have a rubric that is self-judged plus plus judges judged. So take a look at that pack, right? It's always a good idea to take a look at painting rubrics when you're getting your army ready.
Yeah, and that self-judging part is to allow the player to point out things to the judges. So the self-judging doesn't necessarily mean you're going to get the points that you judge yourself on. The judges themselves are the ones that award the points. So there's going to be a 3-judge system where 3 paint judges will come through. They will each individually grade your army, and then you will get the average score between those 3 judges. And a big thing about us having our own venue hall is going to be that the paint judging is actually going to take or happen Saturday evening. So after all your games are done, you're going to set up your army, you're going to leave it out, you're going to go get dinner and everything, and paint judging is going to come through and start that process. So by Sunday morning, all the judging should be completed.
And that's really a good idea, right? Because judges are looking at so many armies. Maybe they miss the one little bit that you spend a lot of time on. So that you can make sure you check out this on this you can really help guide the judge to look at the elements of your army that you're most proud of. So I think that will help the judge, have a little bit, okay, what should I be looking at first in this project? I do like that.
And I know a lot of people like to have a little lore behind their army. I don't know Kings of War lore, right? So, and I'm not going to be a paint judge, so you don't have to worry about me necessarily. But, if you have a lore behind your army and, Felix's Northern Alliance is a certain faction of the Northern Alliance. So he took, those units and he has those symbols and, that's a really cool thing. But the judge might not know anything about that unless you write those comments on your sheet saying, hey, make sure check this out. This is why I have this symbol. This is why these things are, modeled this way, or I did a head swap. It gives you kind of the blank slate to explain why you made the choices with your army. And I think it's something we've utilized for the past couple of years and has gone over really well in our scene.
And then are you going to be doing any challenges if people want to challenge?
Yes, we are. In fact, there's at least one challenge that I know of. Christian, the Canadian, has officially challenged Tim Lonis for the first round. So there will be some maple syrup exchanged, and there might be some models given in return. We will see. But yeah, so if anybody is interested in a first round challenge, call it out. I'm going to keep the attendance sheet as up to date as possible. When I get updates, that will get updated. So again, sign up if you haven't. That way people will know you're coming and you can get challenged.
I have one that I might do. But I'm waiting to see. The last time I checked, this person wasn't signed up yet, but we'll see if they do. And
call them out right here, Jeremy. I'll make sure they sign up. This is your chance.
Well, name and shame.
Name it.
Well, we'll see. We'll see.
The episode's not ending until you give us a name.
Well, it's like I always lose to him at either Clash or Masters in the last round with his stupid army that always beats my army. So I may challenge him the first round and Submarine.
Got it. So Keith Randall.
Perhaps. That is perhaps the answer to that question.
I take offense to that when you say stupid army.
You can challenge the Keith's baby brother, Jason. He's right here right now.
Man, it's just my Basileans do not match up well against elves. It's just really tough. And Keith and I are always sort of 3-1 or, all kind of going into that game 5 or always sort of in each other's orbit. And at Masters this last year, I had as Felix knew, I think Felix saw me. I had stacked, like trying to walk up on the way to lunch, and my knees were all bruised up and I was exhausted. And then I had to play Keith in the last round, and I was like super salty because I was so tired of him kicking my butt so much that this one, I think if I lose to him in the first round, I'll be happier and like of a better. So I feel like I owe him a better game. So we'll see if that materializes.
Keith has been on my radar, and he is on wife approval waiting zone right now.
Well, if he wants an easy round one, it's like, it's already he's already getting a bonus for signing up.
I think you're helping his argument. He's like, babe, look, I've already been challenged.
Yeah,
and this guy
is a schmo
so many times.
He's a dope. He's so
I can't let this go unanswered.
Yeah, he's an easy win. I'll be starting the tournament 1-0. Come on, babe. So we'll see if that. And then watch. I'll show up with a completely different army, and he'll have no idea what he's in for.
You can't paint an army that fast, Jeremy.
No, I'll show up with my MCP models and be like, "Oh no, you have your elves. I have Cyclops, so he's just gonna laser beam all your he'll cut all your elves in half." So,
hey, Jeremy, I got some Night Stalkers I'm not using that weekend, so just say the word, bud.
We're having a conversation, my friend. So
there we go.
This is a conversation that you and I are really going to have. Because especially if I'm bringing my Northern Alliance plus some other things for other game systems, we're definitely going to have a conversation here.
All right.
Okay. Oh well, now I'm definitely challenging Keith. So sign up, buddy, or you're a coward. So the gauntlet has been thrown. Well, awesome, fellas. Thanks for coming on. I know I'm really excited for Adepticon, as we are each year. And it's so funny about Adepticon. It's like always in the future. And the next thing you know, it's like March 10th or March 15th. And you're like, oh my God, Adepticon is in 2 weeks. So it comes at you fast and hard. That's what she said. So it's just a really great event. I'm really excited to see this new venue. It looks like there's tons of great food options. It's going to be logistically a little easier to get around and walk around from the different venues. So I'm really excited. Any final thoughts, Felix or Jason, before we wrap up the show?
I guess if I'm going to leave the Countercharge community to pick stuff, I'll leave it to like basically the middle of February to actually come up with a design. Because I actually do have to create an army and maybe get at least half a rep in before submitting stuff for Adepticlash. So
all right, so you're set on the ogres for pairings though, but they're going to choose your Adepticlash event.
The Adepticlash one. So it's going to be between either Halflings or Northern Alliance. So comment on the show to.
Okay, stay tuned. Yeah, we'll get a poll going to see what you want what you want Felix to bring.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Jason?
All I would say is just plan to have some downtime so you can actually enjoy the convention. You're already paying for a badge. Might as well enjoy the convention while you're at it. And then plan ahead as far as time goes. The convention's bigger than you think. To see everything takes a little bit of time. To get in takes a little bit of time. Just plan ahead for some extra time here or there.
And from my understanding from this new venue is there's several hotels right next to the place or within a couple blocks. So I would desperately try to get one of those hotels because my understanding is you are going to have to pay for parking. So if you can pay for it at the hotel and just leave your car there for the whole weekend, I think that's going to be, the cheaper of the options because everything we want to do is going to be within walking distance after that. So, and then plan on those late night hangouts in the venue hall, where Kings of War is going to be played. I'm thinking it's probably going to happen. Early Thursday is going to be a light one, but Friday, Saturday, we're definitely going to have big hangouts. And bring your friends. I know several people that I've reached out to. They're coming with a group, and a lot of their group isn't playing Kings of War. They're playing whatever other games. Well, those other games, as we saw from Masters this last year, they're not planning a hangout session. They're going to go back to their hotel rooms and do whatever they do when the vendors hall is all closed down and everything. The Kings of War room, the Mantic room, is going to be the late night place to stay. So plan on bringing your friends. Come hang out, board games, Magic, Strike Dice, you name it, it's going to be there. We're going to play it.
Yeah, if anyone out there who's coming to Adepticon is into Star Wars Unlimited, I've been playing that a ton. So definitely let me know. I'll bring some decks for that. And then, we got to get like the Strike Cup going, or we got to think of some sort of like.
Oh, you name it. I have access to a War Chest Creations Tim Lonis. He will create it.
Yeah, tell Tim we need some sort of a Strike Champion, something or other.
Yeah,
it will be. Does it just become the Adam Ballard Cup?
It will be the Goblet of Fire with a lightning bolt on top.
That's what, dude. The Goblet of Fire. That's perfect.
Hell yes.
Okay, dude, do the Goblet of Fire, and then we'll do something like that at Masters too.
Absolutely, it will travel between Masters and Adepticon. Those are the two official events that you can win it at. You must attend, and you must be there for the after.
Oh, Harry. Yeah, well, it's on. It's on like Donkey Kong, as they say.
We'll have the tournament tables going. It'll be like 4 tables. You can play up to 6 people at each table. Yeah, you win. We'll go to the.
That's what I'm going.
It'll happen. It'll happen.
I want to win me the Goblet of Fire. I could care less about anything else. That's
right. That'll be the final award on Sunday. Is who actually wins the Goblet of Fire? Who cares about this Kings of War shit?
Seriously, right? Well, thanks, fellas. Thanks for coming on. I can't wait to see Adam, Felix, and Jason at this year's Adepticon. Remember, Adepticon, check out the website, adepticon.org. Sign up. Like Felix mentioned, even if you're unsure you can go, but you think you want to, sign up so we can get those numbers. Make sure you check out the packs at the rules section so you know what due dates as far as when lists are due. And then get excited, get ready, start putting the money aside for that vendor haul. I've been doing that myself. And then just think about check that extra empty bag because you got to take home all that swag. And with that, we'll be back again in February for another Road to Adepticon episode. We'll bring back Adam and anyone else who wants to come. We'll talk a little bit in our next episode around where everyone is staying. Maybe we'll highlight some food options. We'll talk a little bit about what we can be doing after hours, and then we'll maybe have more information on the Goblet of Fire. So stay tuned, and remember, with that, always keep countercharging.
Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time on Countercharge. Please let us know what you thought of the show by emailing us at counterchargepodcast@gmail.com, on Twitter @countercharge15, or by commenting on the Countercharge Kings of War podcast Facebook group. If you enjoy the show, you can help others find out about it by leaving positive reviews on iTunes. Until next time, keep countercharging. Music is a composition of Kevin MacLeod and is licensed under Creative Commons.